With the recent shooting in Uvalde, Texas, what are our local districts doing to keep the bad guys out and the students and staff safe? I'm Chris Warner with that answer.
President Biden is calling on Congress to take action on gun control. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington with more on his remarks as lawmakers here on the Hill work to find common ground on meaningful reform.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan AUBEY. The shooting at Robb Elementary in Uvalde, Texas is bringing school safety to the forefront. We wanted to know what our local districts are doing to keep those students and staff safe. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with 2 of them and has the answer.
When it comes to school security, there's a number of plans and procedures in place to keep students and staff safe. Too many, in fact, to cover them all in a single newscast. We paid a visit to the Neosho Middle School and to Kelsey Norman Elementary in Joplin and spoke with each district's safety and security director. What we learned is both districts have a number of similar policies and procedures in place. One of the concerns in the Uvalde shooting was a door that didn't lock when it was closed. Ryan West with Neosho says locked doors are one of their top ways to stop someone from getting in.
You concentrate on educating students and staff not to prop doors open, not to leave them open, things like that. And then it's the responsibility of administration to inspect those. We have a tremendous buildings and grounds crew that do a great job of doing that. But sometimes, a failure will happen before someone has a chance to look at it.
There are other contingencies in place. Visitors at both districts must check in through a secured entry before they're allowed in the building. Joplin's director, Jim Hounshell, says if the visitor needs access to the building beyond just dropping something off, they have several steps they must go through.
They're ran through a visitor management system that checks the background of our visitors, make sure they're not on the National Sex Offender database or on our database of individuals. Once they have passed that, they're given a visitor badge and escorted to wherever they need to go.
West says Neosho has similar procedures, but it's about more than just securing the building.
Environmental design is a big thing, and it's a fine line because you want the school to be secure, but you also want it to be a positive learning environment. You don't want it to feel like a fortress.
Hounshell says they also have a duress alarm, which is similar to a panic button that can be pressed if a situation develops in the building.
And it puts out a voice alert over the intercom, letting building occupants know that they need to start their lockdown procedures. At the same time, it notifies the police. And even at many locations, it'll shut doors.
Hounshell says there's even an app staff can use to initiate the lockdown procedure from anywhere in the building. In addition to physical security, both districts have school resource officers, which are armed. In addition, both Hounshell and West are armed. I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
Hounshell and West say as more information is released from Uvalde, they're going to review their current safety plans and procedures to ensure everyone and everything is covered. However, both add they review those procedures on a regular basis, regardless of what's happening nationally. Newton County, Missouri authorities charged the presidents of the Neosho Youth Football League with stealing tens of thousands of dollars in league funds. According to a probable cause affidavit, League President Stuart Pace acknowledged to authorities that he misused funds in a checking account. The amount of the theft is unclear, but the charging document says it's more than $25,000. A Jasper, Missouri man is dead after a motorcycle crash. 51-year-old Jason Lipari was driving a motorcycle on Highway NN 7 miles northeast of Villa, Missouri, when he went off the road, hit a ditch and a utility pole. Lipari died at the scene. Authorities in Oklahoma are revealing new details in yesterday's deadly mass shooting at a hospital in Tulsa. They say the suspects stormed the complex, targeting a doctor who operated on him. Reporter Reagan Ledbetter has the latest.
The deadly mass shooting on the St. Francis Hospital complex came just 2 weeks after the gunman, identified as Michael Lewis, went there for back surgery.
The performing physician was Dr. Preston Phillips. After release, Lewis called several times over several days, complaining of pain.
Tulsa police say Lewis returned to the hospital Wednesday, armed with an AR-15 style rifle he purchased that day, along with the handgun he purchased 3 days ago. Officers arrived on the scene within minutes of the first 911 call.
Shots fired, we see blood on the ground.
They located 4 victims on the second floor, including the doctor and the shooter who took his own life.
He came in with the intent to kill Dr. Phillips and anyone who got in his way. He blamed Dr. Phillips for the ongoing pain following the surgery.
The massacre here in Tulsa happened a week after the deadly Texas school shooting, rattling people in the community.
This is the reality of our world right now. And today our world and our St. Francis family are devastated.
While it's human nature to want to turn our backs right now, to want to walk away, we can't do that. And we won't do that.
The other 3 victims in this shooting include a patient, a receptionist, and another doctor. The hospital CEO says the employees who lost their lives were the best people in the entire world. Reagan Ledbetter, CBS News, Tulsa.
There have been at least 20 mass shootings in the U.S. so far this year. A grand jury in New York has decided to indict the man accused of killing 10 people and injuring 3 at a Buffalo supermarket. Peyton Gendron is indicted on charges of state domestic terrorism and hate crimes that would carry a mandatory sentence of life in prison. He's also been charged with attempted murder and with using a weapon while committing a felony. He has pleaded not guilty to all these charges. President Biden delivering a primetime televised address tonight after several mass shootings we just heard about shook the nation and rekindled the national debate on gun reform. Skylar Henry reports now from Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are discussing several proposals.
President Biden is calling for action after a wave of large-scale mass shootings sparked renewed demands for gun reform.
How many more innocent American lives must be taken before we say enough? Enough.
The president's Thursday night address to the nation follows the deaths of 19 school children and 2 teachers in Uvalde, Texas, 4 people at a Tulsa, Oklahoma hospital, and 10 at a Buffalo, New York supermarket.
We should reinstate the assault weapons ban on high-capacity magazines that we passed in 1994 with bipartisan support in Congress.
Thursday, a House panel approved the Protecting Our Kids Act, which includes a provision to raise the required age for buying semi-automatic firearms from 18 to 21. If it passes the full House, the measure is unlikely to muster enough support in the evenly divided Senate.
The public is demanding that we take action.
Republicans slammed the hearing as threatening the Second Amendment. Some brought their own weapons.
Here's a Sig Sauer 320. It takes a 20-round magazine.
In the Senate, Maine Republican Susan Collins says a group of senators discussing gun reform is making, quote, rapid progress toward a common sense package.
So we're working, hoping to come up with a bipartisan agreement so we can pass something at the federal level that will actually target this problem.
The Senate negotiations are focused on improving background checks and so-called red flag laws that keep guns from people who could harm themselves or others.
A national organization honors Captain Will Davis of the Joplin Police Department. First Responders Children's Foundation hosted a dinner tonight in New York City. Awards were given by first responder category, which included firefighters, also EMTs. Davis represented all public safety officers across the nation. Davis was honored for stopping a man who killed 2 Joplin police officers and injured another officer. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Russell Hurt served in the U.S. Navy from 1952 to 1956. Native of Joplin, Hurt fought in the Korean War. And we are proud to thank and salute Russell Hurt. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast down later. Coach of the honors for a Southeast Kansas softball coach. Gonna have those details in sports.
Good evening, everybody. We had a pretty good day overall. Like Doug advertised the other day, we had to start the day out with a lot of clouds, but once we got deeper into the morning hours and certainly into the afternoon, boy, Mother Nature was kind to us by allowing plenty of sunshine to return to really help temperatures out stay nice and warm and not too humid for the course of the day. With that being said, let's look at temperatures because we did hit the upper 70s, some of us close to 80 the other day. We dropped back into the upper 50s this morning and topped back out around 77, 78, give or take a degree or so this afternoon. And even just after 9 o'clock, we're still looking good and still seeing the last of the sun's rays setting on the western horizon from 7th and range lines. So 63 in Joplin with that nice sky in place, a north breeze at 6. Humidity starting to climb back up, but we've got a relatively dry air mass in place, thankfully, which we deserved after so much rain over the past several weeks. And it's this air mass that's going to allow us to turn chilly. We're not quite there yet, though. We are sitting mainly in the mid-60s right now, but we are going to drop back quite a bit more into the lower to middle 50s underneath mostly clear skies to at least start the night out. Plus, it also helps that we have an area of high pressure working over the 4-state region, but up to the north, doesn't look impressive now, but this is the next cold front that's going to grow out to the west over the next few days and then come marching in slowly across the region as we go into the weekend. Couple that with this building, vigorous upper level low, ready to send bursts of disturbances in the coming week with this westerly flow of the jet. We got to get ready for more returning rain chances, but at least we could salvage some more dry time before we see some of those rain chances work back in by Saturday. Even though we're dry for tonight, some cloud cover out west will try to build in, but any rain that you see popping up in the future track, it's going to stay out in central and northern parts of Oklahoma. We are dry to start your Friday morning out. I think the future track here is slightly overdoing cloud cover, but it's got the general idea of at least partly sunny skies. I definitely think it has the right idea with what I'm thinking in terms of temperatures. 54 in the morning, 74 by noon, even with that light east breeze. We'll go to 78 in downtown Joplin, everybody topping out in the upper 70s for Friday afternoon. We're dry Friday night. We're dry for the overnight hours for the most part, but we'll have to see if we can get any thunderstorm chances in here as early as late Saturday morning. But with the next bundle of disturbances ready to roll on in with the incoming front, we'll watch for at least better thunderstorm chances by Saturday. But then that's the start of a parade of rain chances with complexes of storms coming toward us Sunday, Monday, continued rain chances Tuesday, and through the middle of next week. And it's going to add up to some serious amounts of rain. On the latest look at things, not set in stone yet, these numbers, but I would not be surprised if we had rain totals by next Thursday between 1 to 4 inches. So we need to keep an eye out for any potential flooding concerns as we go through the first full week of the month of June. But temperatures will stay in check with all these rain chances in tow. None for tomorrow, thankfully, with highs near 78, near 80 Saturday and Sunday, and then bouncing between the mid 70s and lower 80s for much of next week. Jordan.
Nick Kelly, thank you. Here's a look at our tower camera. Nick Kelly, thank you. Here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction, as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Well, the U.S. economy already reeling, maybe facing even more turbulence. Gas prices hit another record overnight. And now there are signs businesses may be ratcheting back their hiring. All this could mean trouble for workers already wrestling with a starkly higher cost of living. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Unemployment is down a little and the price of gas is up a lot. So what's that mean for the economy? It's complicated.
There's already early signs that inflation is peaking. But if you look at numbers such as the number of quits or outstanding jobs available, they are actually starting to peak and roll over.
Economists are worried because since the 50s, inflation over 4% combined with unemployment under 5% has meant the U.S. economy was headed for a recession within 2 years. Inflation now stands at 8.3%, and the May jobs report out Friday is expected to show the unemployment rate dipped to 3.5%.
The data in the economy is not awesome. It's not really horrible, so I think we've got kind of a soft landing, slowdown definitely upon us.
When the Federal Reserve talks about a soft landing, you better put your seatbelt on because they're going to give us a crash landing.
Drivers are looking for relief. The national average for a gallon of regular hit $4.72 on Thursday.
Everything's sky high. Where I used to fill my tank for $50, now it's $80.
A report out Thursday shows U.S. businesses added 128,000 jobs last month, less than half of what economists had predicted, the worst month for job creation since April 2020. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
Coming up, a statewide review of school safety.
Focus turns to school safety as the funerals continue for the victims killed in last week's mass shooting at an elementary school. I'm Casey STEGALL in Uvalde, Texas. The latest from the ground is coming up.
More information now coming to light about how police responded to the deadly mass shooting at a Texas school last week. There are also still plenty of unanswered questions. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stegall has more from Texas.
The folks here in Uvalde paying respects to the victims of last week's deadly shooting at Robb Elementary School, a process expected to continue for the next 2 weeks as 19 children and 2 teachers are laid to rest, all while family and friends grieve. Texas officials are focused on avoiding another mass shooting. Governor Greg Abbott ordering a full review of all safety protocols and procedures in public schools statewide, a move being applauded by most parents.
Our children are our greatest asset. They're the next leaders of the world. We should protect them to the fullest.
But questions remain whether law enforcement could have stopped this mass shooting in progress. School Police Chief Pete Arredondo waited more than an hour before instructing his officers to confront the gunman.
Are you injured? Oh my God! Where?
Despite growing evidence that police knew there were injured children in the school. Arredondo says he won't comment until after the funerals, but he says he is in contact with investigators, a claim that has been disputed by the Texas Department of Public Safety.
They deserve the truth. They deserve to know. Healing cannot happen with unanswered questions. You can't forgive somebody that doesn't acknowledge that they've done something wrong.
The chief says families should be the focus right now, and he'll release more information in the coming weeks. That's the latest from Uvalde, Texas. Casey Stegall, Fox News.
Still ahead, sending more power to Ukraine.
More aid pours into Ukraine as Russia's invasion nears its 100th day. I'm Mike Tobin in Kyiv. More details coming up.
Hackers almost hit one of the nation's best children's hospitals. Speaking at a conference at Boston College, FBI Director Christopher Wray said that hackers, sponsored by the Iranian government, attempted to hit Boston Children's Hospital. Agents at the FBI were able to stop the attack after being tipped off and informing hospital officials last summer. Wray called the thwarted attack, quote, one of the most despicable he's ever seen. Boston Children's, by the way, has been named a U.S. News and World Report's best children's hospital in the U.S. for the 8 years in a row. More countries are joining the U.S. in sending additional aid to Ukraine. Ukrainian forces are asking for more weaponry as Russia gains ground in the east. Fox News senior correspondent Mike Tobin has more.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine marks its 100th day on Friday, and international aid continues to pour in for Ukrainian forces. Today, the UK announced plans to supply troops with medium-range rocket systems. The decision was made in coordination with the U.S. government, which announced a new $700 million aid package this week. A Kremlin spokesman warns of repercussions if those weapons are fired into Russia.
It will simply bring more suffering to Ukraine, which is simply a tool in the hands of those countries that supply weapons there.
Prior shipments of Western arms helped Ukraine fend off troops around the capital of Kyiv. Moscow then shifted its focus to the Donbass in the east. Russian troops have tightened their grip on the region, launching a wave of strikes overnight. Some military analysts think Russia is aiming to capture the Donbass before more Ukrainian aid arrives.
They can pack their forces in a much smaller area. They can overcome some of the logistics challenges they faced when they were spread out.
And in a diplomatic boost for Ukraine, Bridget Brink was formally installed as the new U.S. ambassador here in Kyiv. She said the U.S. is working with its allies to help Ukraine defend itself.
Standing by Ukraine in its hour of need is not just the right thing to do. It is in our vital national interest to ensure peaceful and stable Europe.
The ambassador is expected to help coordinate Western arms shipments to Ukraine. In Kyiv, Mike Tobin, Fox News.
He's very old, but very wise. Next, going to meet the world's oldest living dog. A South Carolina doggy becoming the newly throned king when it comes to outlasting time. Pebbles, right there, was certified the world's oldest living dog at 22 years, 50 days on May 17th. 22 years. The Guinness World Records Group gave the toy fox terrier the title after passing previous title holder, 21-year-old Toby Keith, a Florida Chihuahua. Owners Bobby and Julie Gregory applied Pebbles with Guinness after hearing about Toby Keith. Pebbles likes cat food, sleeping, walks on the beach, walks anywhere, snuggling, and country music. Same can be said about me, except the cat food thing. Pebbles, what's the matter with you? You know? But apparently, I only have 2 dogs, but apparently if you have a dog and a cat, the dog really likes cat food. I didn't know that. But still, Pebbles, you're weird. Congratulations, by the way. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to learn about the historic connection between a stretch of Highway 69 in Kansas and milk, tea, and water.
There's been a big focus on school security ever since the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and now a tech company has a solution that might help prevent these things before they ever happen. I'm Eben Brown in Miami. I'll have that story straight ahead.
A South Carolina doggy becoming the newly throned king when it comes to outlasting time. Pebbles right there was certified the world's oldest living dog at 22 years, 50 days on May 17th. 22 years! The Guinness World Records Group gave the toy fox terrier the title after passing previous title holder, 21-year-old Toby Keith, a Florida Chihuahua. Owners Bobby and Julie Gregory applied Pebbles with Guinness after hearing about Toby Keith. Pebbles likes cat food, sleeping, walks on the beach, walks anywhere, snuggling, and country music. Same could be said about me, except the cat food thing. Pebbles, what's the matter with you? You know? But apparently, I only have 2 dogs, but apparently if you have a dog and a cat, the dog really likes cat food. I didn't know that. But still, Pebbles, you're weird. Congratulations, by the way. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to learn about the historic connection between a stretch of Highway 69 in Kansas and milk, tea, and water.
There's been a big focus on school security ever since the school shooting in Uvalde, Texas, and now a tech company has a solution that might help prevent these things before they ever happen. I'm Eben Brown in Miami. I'll have that.
99 years ago, Jefferson Highway was formed in Crawford County, Kansas. At the time, it was christened by 3 girls breaking bottles of milk, tea, and water. Jefferson Highway is now known as Highway 69. Is today right there at the corner of Highways 69 and 47 in Franklin, also known as Gennardi's Corner. People gathered to recreate the event and celebrate the highway's history.
So we hope people will come through and stop and visit and see the monuments that we have around town and visit our park and our museum.
The Jefferson Highway, now Highway 69, runs through 7 states. A youth transitional living facility in Joplin is the recipient of a new award. Head Start awarded Loving Grace the Head Start Hero Awards today. Loving Grace is a facility that provides an 18 to 21 month program for young women and their children. The facility's Stay Safe program provides housing, food, education, and a variety of other resources for the residents.
Giving them the tools that they have. When I was younger, I didn't have those tools as a young mom, and now they have the support they need. They don't always have family members. They don't always have someone to help them, and them coming here gives them a support like a family atmosphere.
Head Start Hero gives local recognition to partners for exceptional services to individual Head Start grantees and delegates. Red hot inflation having a major impact on Americans' day-to-day finances. Fox's CJ Papa takes a look at how you can stop surging prices from squeezing your wallet.
Although inflation is impacting a majority of Americans, one personal finance expert says it's no reason to panic.
Fear cannot be your financial advisor. When we hear words like inflation and recession and all of this, the fear can just rise up and you can make really bad decisions.
Ramsey Solutions' first quarter State of Personal Finance report shows an overwhelming 80% of Americans said inflation has impacted their day-to-day finances. Personal finance expert Rachel Cruz encourages consumers to focus on changing financial habits within their control and optimizing their budget.
If you are not being intentional with where your paycheck's going, then you're going to spend money that you don't tend to spend.
When it comes to creating a budget, Cruz says your income minus total expenses should equal 0, and every dollar should be accounted for.
You're going to put that income at the top of an Excel sheet, a sheet of paper, a budgeting app. Look at all of your expenses, putting dollar amounts next to all the categories you spend money on. So every dollar has an assignment. Every dollar is being intentionally spent.
And with consumer confidence plunging along with American savings rate, Cruz notes the importance of replacing money taken from your savings.
Money flows 2 ways. It flows in and it flows out. And so if you are taking money from your savings, number one, thankfully you have it, but you want to replace that as soon as possible as well.
CJ Papa, Fox News.
The shortage in baby formula is not improving. That's according to new data. Nationwide, 23% of powdered baby formula was out of stock the week of May 22nd compared to 21% the week before. The areas of the country hit the hardest include the South and Southwest. This data comes as President Biden met with formula makers yesterday. Biden said it could take a couple of more months before normal supply returns. Biden also said he was not briefed on the prospect of formula shortages for about 2 months. Been a renewed focus on school security since the shooting in Texas. Well, sometimes it takes a hero, a true hero, to stop a shooter. A new tech company is rolling out an artificial intelligence-powered program to help detect threats. Fox's Eben Brown has more on this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
The mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, has angered so many over the idea that a teen with a violent history had no trouble obtaining firearms, with also some suggesting the police response was too slow. And while gunmen often need to be stopped by heroes, a new tech company may have an alternative. Zero Eyes is an artificial intelligence company founded by and run by veterans. They use their tech to identify images in real time from security cameras. The Zero Eyes AI can identify a person walking around, say, a campus with a gun, and alert authorities often within seconds. And that could be a major development for law enforcement, because in an active shooter situation, every moment counts.
Every second that passes, the shooter is shooting somebody or shooting his gun. Every second counts. So that's what we're all about. We're about saving time.
Zero Eyes says when someone pulls a gun, its AI takes only 3 to 5 seconds to alert the company, which verifies it's a firearm and informs law enforcement, a possible game changer for school security that could help save lives. This technology is now in use in at least 18 states, and more could be coming online with the new school year. In Miami, Eben Brown, Fox News.
Target and Dollar Tree have quietly stopped selling glue traps for rodents. Animal rights activists have long condemned them as unnecessarily cruel. The two retailers are following other major retailers in dropping the traps. They include CVS, Rite Aid, and Duane Reade drugstore chains, as well as discount retailer Big Lots, according to PETA. A bit later, sports growing in popularity.
It's now the fastest growing sport in the nation. I'm Ashley Strohmeyer with a look at what makes pickleball so popular. That's coming up.
Good evening, everybody. We had a pretty good day overall. Like Doug advertised the other day, we had to start the day out with a lot of clouds, but once we got deeper into the morning hours and certainly into the afternoon, boy, Mother Nature was kind to us by allowing plenty of sunshine to return to really help temperatures out stay nice and warm and not too humid for the course of the day. With that being said, let's look at temperatures, because we did hit the upper 70s, some of us close to 80 the other day. We dropped back into the upper 50s this morning and topped back out around 77, 78, give or take a degree or so this afternoon. And even just after 9 o'clock, we're still looking good and still seeing the last of the sun's rays setting on the western horizon from 7th and range lines. So 63 in Joplin with that nice sky in place, a north breeze at 6. Humidity starting to climb back up, but we've got a relatively dry air mass in place, thankfully, which we deserved after so much rain over the past several weeks. And it's this air mass that's going to allow us to turn chilly. We're not quite there yet, though. We are sitting mainly in the mid 60s right now, but we are going to drop back quite a bit more into the lower to middle 50s underneath mostly clear skies to at least start the night out. Plus, it also helps that we have an area of high pressure working over the 4-state region, but up to the north. Doesn't look impressive now, but this is the next cold front that's going to grow out to the west over the next few days and then come marching in slowly across the region as we go into the weekend. Couple that with this building, vigorous upper level low, ready to send bursts of disturbances in the coming week. With this westerly flow of the jet, we got to get ready for more returning rain chances, but at least we could salvage some more dry time before we see some of those rain chances work back in by Saturday. Even though we're dry for tonight, some cloud cover out west will try to build in, but any rain that you see popping up in the future track, it's going to stay out in central and northern parts of Oklahoma. We are dry to start your Friday morning out. I think the future track here is slightly overdoing cloud cover, but it's got the general idea of at least partly sunny skies. I definitely think it has the right idea with what I'm thinking in terms of temperatures. 54 in the morning, 74 by noon, even with that light east breeze. We'll go to 78 in downtown Joplin, everybody topping out in the upper 70s for Friday afternoon. We're dry Friday night. We're dry for the overnight hours for the most part, but we'll have to see if we can get any thunderstorm chances in here as early as late Saturday morning. But with the next bundle of the services ready to roll on in with the incoming front, we'll watch for at least better thunderstorm chances by Saturday. But then that's the start of a parade of rain chances with complexes of storms coming toward us Sunday, Monday, continued rain chances Tuesday, and through the middle of next week. And it's going to have to some serious amounts of rain. On the latest look at things, not set in stone yet, these numbers, but I would not be surprised if we had rain totals by next Thursday between 1 to 4 inches. So we need to keep an eye out for any potential flooding concerns as we go through the first full week of the month of June. But temperatures will stay in check with all these rain chances in tow. None for tomorrow, thankfully, with highs near 78, near 80 Saturday and Sunday, and then bouncing between the mid 70s and lower 80s for much of next week. Jordan.
Nick Kelly, thank you. Here's a look at our tower cameras. Nick, thanks again. It's a celebration fit for a queen. The UK honoring Queen Elizabeth's major milestone with 4 days of community activities. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from London.
It's the start of Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, marking 70 years on the throne, and folks here across the pond are going all out.
We were here 10 years ago and we were here for the Diamond, and I always wanted to see the Platinum Jubilee, so I took my chance and I got here. I'm so excited. It's been fabulous.
Britain kicked off celebrations with a Trooping the Colour parade Thursday. The Queen making an appearance on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, surrounded by working members of the royal family. The 96-year-old took the throne back in 1952 when she was just 25 years old. She is the United Kingdom's longest reigning monarch and the first British royal to reach the Platinum Jubilee.
She always comes out and she smiles, and we just love the Queen, don't we? She's beautiful. Very happy.
It's not just the royal family getting in on the fun. Thousands of spectators gathered in London, some making the journey from other countries and camping out overnight, all just to get a glimpse of the royals.
It's great to see this country celebrating the Queen so much, and I think that coming from a country where we don't have any royals, it's really great to see.
Today has just been amazing. It's been wonderful weather, it's been a great crowd, it's been really, really enjoyable to see all the royal family out to celebrate.
Buckingham Palace says the Queen felt some discomfort during Thursday's event, so she won't be attending the service of Thanksgiving on Friday. In London, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up in sports now, the Joplin Outlaws kicking off the season tonight at home against Nevada, plus All-America honors for Pitt State first baseman Garrett McGowan. Jay Leonard has that and more after this break.
Well, tonight is the opening night of the season for the Joplin Outlaws. The Outlaws kick off their schedule with a home game this evening against the Nevada Griffons. Now, tonight's game is the first of 4 straight home games to begin the season for Joplin. We are scoreless in the 4th. Nevada has runners on 2nd and 3rd. Adrian Randall gets 2 huge strikeouts to get out of the jam. Later, guess we don't have those highlights. We're talking about Garrett McGowan. Pittsburgh State's Garrett McGowan has been named an All-American today by the NCBWA. He is a 3rd-team All-American selection. Of course, this season, he hit .399 with a team-high 18 home runs, also hit 20 doubles, and led the team with 79 RBIs. He is the 9th All-American in Pitt State baseball history. Moving on to the major leagues, opening game of a rivalry series tonight between the Cardinals and Cubs. Cards won 3 straight and 5 of their last 6. Tonight's game still going. St. Louis is down 5-3 in the top of the 8th. Paul Goldschmidt was 1 for 4 on the night with a double and an RBI. Now we're talking about Pittsburgh State's Garrett McGowan. He earned yet another postseason award today, being named an All-American by the NCBWA. He led the team with a .399 batting average, Posted a team-high 79 RBIs, 18 home runs, also had a perfect fielding percentage at first base for the Gorillas. McGowan is the 9th All-American in Pitt State program history. Columbus High School head softball coach Amy Saporito has been named the CNC Coach of the Year. The Titans had one of the best seasons in program history. They started the spring with 12 consecutive wins and finished with an 18-3 overall record. Along the way, they won their first ever CNC League championship and had 8 players earn all-conference recognition.
That was big. I wish that you always want to get all of them. You don't want to leave one, but it was a big deal. As we've went throughout the past several years, it's been a struggle to get 1 or 2 on, not alone 8 of them. So, I truly believe they deserve it, and they worked hard for it.
You can check out the full list of all CNC softball awards in this story on the sports page at KOAMnewsnow.com. Finally, Game 1 of the NBA Finals tonight. Golden State Warriors host the Boston Celtics. Right now, it is the Warriors leading 73-64 with about 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Steph Curry leading the way right now for Golden State with 28 points. Former KU standout Andrew Wiggins has 16 for the Warriors. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
It looks like tennis, but it's not. And its name is definitely as unforgettable as it is fun to say. Fox News correspondent Ashley Strohmeyer has more on the trendiest sport in the country at what makes it so popular.
It goes by an unusual name, but it's something a growing number of Americans can't seem to get enough of. Pickleball. According to Sports and Fitness Industry Association, it's now the fastest growing sport in the entire country.
It's the one rare sport that you can have every age, every generation, every background.
The game, which combines elements from tennis, badminton, and ping pong, is still relatively young. Invented in Washington State back in 1965 by 3 dads who wanted an inclusive activity for family members of all ages. And one of their dogs, Pickles, is the game's namesake.
You don't get to be on the edge of a sport growing very often.
But why is it becoming so popular? For starters, it's relatively cheap to play. All you need is a paddle, perforated plastic ball, and an unoccupied section of a tennis court. Many players say it's also helping them stay in shape and combat personal struggles.
I have more energy because I'm running a lot on the court. It's not very heavy on the body.
I found a community here and started playing, and it was kept me from day drinking.
And people seem to love it so much, it's even replacing other sports many used to enjoy.
I told myself, I'm going to first start out with pickleball, and then I'll transition back to tennis. I've only stuck with pickleball.
Close to 5 million people in the U.S. currently play pickleball, almost double the amount from a few years ago. The USA Pickleball Association says it's becoming increasingly attractive with those 55 and under. Ashley Strohmeyer, Fox News.
Looks like fun. Coming up, check out what's new to those theaters, also at home streaming. From series returns to big screen tales inspired by real life and a record-breaking movie still topping those box office charts. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a look at new releases.
Several new releases are streaming this week.
This week is sacred.
Hulu starts Pride Month with the rom-com Fire Island, an adaptation of Pride and Prejudice following a group of gay friends who set out to have a legendary summer.
It is good to be back.
Hulu also invites audiences to return to the Orville for Season 3 of the sci-fi series New Horizons.
I am very excited for everyone to meet the real me.
The boys are back on Prime Video with Season 3 of their no-holds-barred outrageous superhero satire.
Captain Collins reporting, sir.
Netflix adds Interceptor, starring Elsa Pataki as an Army captain at a remote missile interceptor station tasked with saving the world.
Hi, I'm new to California.
Disney Plus has the sequel Hollywood Stargirl with the musically talented teen following her LA dreams.
I'm going to have a crack at the British Open.
In theaters, The Phantom of the Open with Mark Rylance and Sally Hawkins in the true story of a crane operator and amateur golfer who made his way to the 1976 British Open.
It is time to stop seeing.
Crimes of the Future starts its run in theaters. Writer-director David Cronenberg's sci-fi horror stars Viggo Mortensen as an artist showcasing his metamorphosis as humans adapt to a synthetic environment.
Good morning, aviators. This is your captain speaking.
And there's the #1 film, Top Gun Maverick, which leads the way after breaking Memorial Day weekend box office records with $156 million. Maverick is also Tom Cruise's top opening weekend at the domestic box office. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you tonight with video of lava flowing from Italy's Mount Etna. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.